MSB here, and it's time for a special episode of MSBvP. Today, I'll be running through a draft tournament in Hex Shards of Fate. Now, this is the first time I've shown a Hex draft, so this video will be one part PvP focused, and another part sneak peek focused. So, let's get started! The draft tournament in the Hex Alpha version is located in the Tournaments tab. Here, you jump into a queue which starts a tournament once 8 people have joined. Please remember, this is the alpha version of Hex, so there will be vast improvements to the user interface and art for sure. After a quick stint in the lobby, we now start with the drafting. If this is your first time drafting, please check out the link in the video description below, as I'll be discussing the metagame and card choices here. The link will take you to an article on the Hex website, which is a fantastic resource for people who are new to drafting. Okay, first pack. In the current meta, Sapphire is extraordinarily powerful. Lots of people try to grab that, so my opinion is between the Bombsmith and the Shadowgrove Witch. Sapphire is really popular, so I'm going to take the Bombsmith because the 1 damage can kill off a lot of the flying 1 toughness troops. You know, when Sapphire gets involved, then there's that 4/1 blood troop that has a socketable gem, and most of the time people in Sapphire pick that up and make it a flyer. Okay, cool. Next pack. So at this stage, it's really down to the Crazed Squirrel or the Honeycap, and the Honeycap really forces you into wild, and I'm not necessarily prepared to take that, so I'm just going to be taking the Crazed Squirrel Titan. That can be very good when it enters play and then battles an opposing troop. There's a lot of great troops that you can just immediately kill. Okay, pack 3. What have we got in here? So, Giant Corpse Fly, Turreted Wall, Infiltrator Bot. There's a Shards of Fate if I really wanted that. Feral Ogre is a very decent 2-cost troop. So really, there's Arena Brawler if I wanted to stay in Ruby. I'm going to take the Giant Corpse Fly. The Giant Corpse Fly is a really good draft troop because it's a 2/1 flyer, and it also makes a champion discard a card. So there's a lot of good sort of built-in card advantage to it. And again, it can sort of trade off a lot of those low-toughness Sapphire troops that fly. Okay, cycling back around. Ooh, Zentoth's Inquisitor. Blood is looking pretty solid, so I'm going to take a Zentoth's Inquisitor. There's a couple of different gem options that I could use for it. I do like the Experimental War Hulk, because it's a 3/4 for 5, and then the following turn you could pump it to a 5/4 with Crush. So that can be a pretty decent troop. Nothing fantastic, but right now, because I'm split between 3 different shards, picking up an artifact just lets me sort of bide my time while I wait to see what other shards come out. So Menacing Grog got around. That's interesting. So I think I'm going to be going with the Axebot here, because yes, it's an overcosted 2/2, but it can be very good if you've got something out on the field, like Zentoth's Inquisitor, that can sort of recur a couple of times. Okay, so new pack. We're looking pretty strong in Blood and Wild. So there's the Manti Elder Druid for some reversion. So Wailing Banshee is really going to be my best option here because of the evasion. That could be a solid turn 3 troop that delivers a lot of good early game damage. Okay, number 2. So continuing with the Blood Wild options. I could still dip into Ruby, but I don't think that would be a good idea. So, Sorrow, there's the Effigy. That could be a decent socketed troop, but then there's a Tyrannosaurus Hex, which is a very big, not necessarily a bomb, but I mean, it's a very decent monster if you can get it out. So, good troop. Obviously, it's 6/4 for 6. I don't think there's any other really good options in the pack for the shards I'm in, so I'll take the Tyrannosaurus. Now, this does put my curve a little bit high, because I've got the 6 cost here, and the 6 from the Crazed Squirrel Titan, and the 5 for Terrible Transfer, but we should be okay. Oof, not a lot good. Okay, so there's a Boulder Brute. an invisible Boulder Brute. There's also a Nature Rains, and I'd love to take a Nature Rains to have in my sideboard in case I face off against the Sapphire deck with air superiority in it, but I've got to go for a Boulder Brute. It's a much more solid option. Hopefully a Nature Rains comes up at some point in the draft so I can have one for my sideboard. So here, another Manti-Elder Druid, a Vine Trap, which is a very decently costed 2/4, Zombie Vulture, which can give me some flight in my deck, but I think, I don't like the 5 cost 4/1 with flight, so I think I'm just going to sort of get a solid, I'm just going to take the Vine Trap for the solid 2/4 for 3 cost. Okay, so here's a Gigantosaur, that'd be hilarious, a Time Bug. Now, Time Bug would be really, really funny. Obviously worthless, not going to take that. So there's an Atrophy, and there's the Cottontail Ronin. I can't imagine taking the Gigantosaur for 7. I'd never make that in a draft. So Atrophy can be a decent spot removal, but I do like the Cottontail Ronin if I can sort of get it out early. The Time Bug came back around. And here comes the last pack. Ooh, look at this. Battle Beetle. Okay, so I would like... the Darkspire Priestess isn't bad either. So the Battle Beetle is amazing. The Incubation Slave can have some really good synergy, especially since I took an evolution. But the Battle Beetle with a major socket is just too good to pass up, even though I have a couple of other 6-cost troops. Okay... What's the... So, Runir, Cottontail... Ooh, okay. So, a Headless Executioner, but there's another... Boulder Brute, and I'm perfectly happy taking a second Boulder Brute. So, another Menacing Grolk, another Flock of Seagulls... Ooh, an Incubation Slave. Okay, so the Incubation Slave has excellent synergy with my evolution, so I'm going to be taking that. I feel that it's a very decent troop once you get to the 6 resources. It works very well with Evolve. So here, a Survival of the Fittest or an Atrophy comes up. The Stargazer has no help for me, so I'm going to take the Survival of the Fittest. That's a fantastic troop removal card for Wild. Ooh, okay, so here there's the Succulent Roostosaur. Something like the Howling Brave wouldn't really help me, and the Mazat Ranger, it is a 4/1, which can be nice when socketed well, but the Succulent Roostosaur is really nice because it makes your early game troops still relevant because it can help boost it up. Plus, if I ever get out a Incubation Slave and pop it with a Succulent Roostosaur out, that's gonna be ridiculous. And with that, you're now sent over to the deck builder. And here you can see the final deck. I went with Zerid for some extra troop removal, and in addition I've got a couple of good win conditions. I've got the Battle Beetle with a Rhino Creation Gem, and I also have a Succulent Roostosaur and Incubation Slave, which can make a really good combination. In addition, I've got some nice beefy brawlers and a couple of troops with evasion. In my first match, my opponent revealed himself to have a Blood Ruby deck. His deck looked to be focusing on early game aggression, and his Blood Troop would have stopped my Banshee from getting through for free. I decided to use my hero power and rely on Survival of the Fittest, and the information that he probably didn't have another Darkspire Priestess in his deck, to clear the board, paving way for some early damage with my Banshee. The guess paid off, and I got a lot of early game damage in. And then an ill-advised attack allowed me to rally my forces with an evolution and finish him off. After each match, you're able to go back to the deck creation and make some modifications with remaining cards you have left from the draft. And now I'll pass it over to the full game commentary. Okay, ooh, Succulent Roostosaur, a Dark Spear. Yeah, this is good. I've got 1 blood and 3 wild sources. That's great. A couple early game troops. Should be pretty good. Let's see where he goes. Last time he had some pretty significant early game. Okay, Shards of Fate. He had some pretty significant early game troops, so we'll see if he backs that up again. Ooh, a Sapphire? Well, he was Blood Ruby last time. I don't know if he added in some Sapphire, made it a 3-shard deck. I mean, if that's the case, then congrats for him pulling a Shard of Fate. Okay, let's get that Blood resource right out of there. and pass it over. So yeah, I mean, lucky Shard of Fate if that's the case, if you just sort of added in Sapphire at the end, but... Or, who knows, maybe I'm not fighting Blood Ruby anymore. He's the Transformer! And now I've got Sapphire! Okay, and Blood. Let's see if he's got anything at 2 resources. If not, I'll be looking for my Priestess to come out, likely. Okay, let's see what I draw. Ooh, an Incubation Slave. You know, since he's got nothing on the board, I'm going to play my Incubation Slave. Because, again, as I mentioned during the draft, the Incubation Slave plus Succulent Roostosaur is pretty ridiculous. And getting it out super early will make sure that I've got, you know, a ton of troops that pop. Okay, so he is playing 3 shards. Okay, so Granton guys, Swift Strike. It's got a 1 toughness though, so obviously I've got the 4 resources in my hand to give me the 4 charges. So that's an obvious target for my hero power. So let's go from here. Okay, Scroll Titan, that doesn't really help me for early game. Okay, yeah, I'll play my 2/3. That'll be a good blocker, so he can't attack. Give myself a little bit of extra healing just in case he plays some burn or something. Okay. Yes, attack with my 0/2. No, just joking. Definitely not. Just joking. Let's see where he goes from here. Like I said, last time he had those 2 early game troops. Another Ruby. Where are you going? 4 resources. He's first to hit 4, so we'll see. Ooh, Gemcrace Berserker now with Swift Strike, so that's an obvious threat. Glimmer Glen Witch. So now I have to sort of see what I'm going to be able to do about this. Obviously, a Survival of the Fittest would be fantastic here. Oh, look at that! Yeah, play that 4th resource. I'm going to get rid of both of these troops. Just like my last game, getting rid of his early game pressure really put the brakes on his deck. So I am perfectly confident to take out the Gemcrace Berserker with my hero power, and then Survival of the Fittest off that Enchantress. And then we'll just sort of go from there. Obviously looking to play out an extra troop, but yeah, get that out of there, because you know, multiple troops with Swift Strike is just going to be crazy. Can't keep that around. Okay, so now click that off. Yep, let's get that combat out, just in case he's got some waggy trick. Yep, 2. Okay, get that damage in. And let's get at that Roostosaur. Obviously, because I'd only have 1 troop to tap, I could tap the Incubation Slave to make it a 2/2. So hopefully he doesn't have anything that could do 2 damage, because obviously I've got my Glimmer Glen Witch tapped. But I felt that getting out that Succulent Roostosaur is more important now that he's showing Sapphire, because the Roostosaur plus the Slave is my win condition. And I really don't want him to, you know, play out a low-cost troop and then have a counterspell. Counter magic. Counterspell. Have a counter magic in hand to counter off the Roostosaur. That would be pretty terrible. So, best to get it in while I can. 5 cost, 4 cards. What you playing? It's delaying quite a while. Does he not have anything? Maybe he's got a troop that requires like 2 blood or something. No, he's got a Mesmerize. Okay, that's fine. That could have been a lot worse if he had held on to that for, say, like my Succulent Roostosaur. Obviously, he doesn't see the combo potential of these 2 troops that are out. I mean, obviously, I'm 2 resources shy of being able to pop the Slave, but that's a major threat. Okay, well, At this point, I'm obviously going to attack in for my 2. Do I want to pump the Roostosaur or just do the 1 damage and save 1? I'm going to put out my Dark Spirit Priestess. See if he's got anything in hand. No? Okay. So, and then I'll proceed to attack. And you know what? I think I want to pump up my Roostosaur. I'd rather get the damage on the field. So I'm happy to tap out both of my creatures to make my Roostosaur a 3/3 this turn. Yep. Exhaust another troop. Exhaust that slave, because who cares? The slave is just chilling out, gestating, or whatever. And let's get that priestess tapped as well, so she's contributing to the fight without being in it. Now again, there's a couple of cards that could make this a bad play, but at the same time, I want to get my early game damage in. I've got a Boulder Brute as soon as I get a 5th resource. I can throw out a Corpse Fly next turn if I want to. I've got the Crazed Squirrel Titan for, you know, if the Roostosaur combo doesn't make it, then when I hit 6 resources, I throw out the Squirrel Titan and battle off whatever's sort of left. So we'll see what we can do here. Yep, pass it. And this makes me really happy that I got out that Roostosaur early, because he's just sitting there with Sapphire and 5 resources. So he could very easily have a counterspell here. You know, I'm gonna... Well, let's get out this resource. And let's see if he's holding something. And let's go ahead and pump up the Roostosaur. Just the 1. Pass that priority. So I'll be putting in another 4 damage onto him. This is just to see if he's got, you know, anything in hand. Draw it out before I play my Boulder Brute. Yep. 4 damage. Down to 11. Halfway there. And yeah, let's kick it out. Let's see if he's actually holding a counter magic. Because playing the giant corpse fly, I don't think I'd rather save that for after. Yep, there it is, counter magic. I'd rather save the giant corpse fly for after I get that card out. Because now if I play the corpse fly, if I don't pull a 6th resource next turn, I play the corpse fly. That's going to be much better to get rid of 1 out of 3 cards left in his hand, and I won't mind that at all. Okay, 6 resources. Now he's big. He must have like a lot of pumping spells. You know that, and that may be one of the issues that he had from before. Oh, there we go, Inquisition. Well, now he gets to pick. I can't imagine he would not ditch. Well, no, he may like the 2 cards that he has in his hand, and then he may get rid of the giant corpse fly. Let's see. He's got something sneaky in his hand. Okay. He's got something sneaky in his hand. Okay. Okay, so the sneaky thing that he has in his hand is a giant corpse fly. So there goes my Crazed Squirrel Titan. Oh well. The good news is I can just attack with my Roostosaur and then see if he blocks and pump it up to a 3/3. So I'm still okay with this. Obviously, if I got a resource here, it'd be amazing. Resource? Resource? What do you think? Another Glimmerglen Witch. Oh well. Perfectly fine, because now I can make him a 4/4. So I'm going to play that off, go up to 26 health. Let's go ahead and just jump right in. Because obviously I can make him up to a 4/4 if I wanted to. And this is where the Roostosaur is really nice. I'm going to attack with my Priestess, just because I don't care if he trades. And I can still make myself a 3/3, even if he decides to block the Roostosaur. Okay, so he's going for the trade. Fine with that. Yep, I'll just go ahead and process this now. And let's throw out that second exhaust. Get that in there. Cool. Okay, so now I'm a 3/3, so I'm taking him down to 8. And if the Priestess triggers in my favor, then that's an extra 3 damage. So we'll see. Okay, no. Yep. Well, and... okay, so I pulled another Priestess, which is great. So I'm happy to play that out as well. Yeah, that was the best part about drafting 2 of those is, you know, I actually don't mind. It's a decent cost, troop, 2 for a 2/1. And then the fact that I got 2 of them in draft makes it great, because I don't care if I pull another 2/1 in my hand or if I do another 3 damage. You know? Okay, Ruby Pyromancer. And a Throat Cutter. Okay. 3/2/2, that's fine. Obviously my Roostosaur, it's a 3/2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, okay. Drop Bear. What a great power name. Drop Bear. Fantastic. Okay, so now it's a big fat 8/6. So at this point, I could try and brute force my way into him. Obviously, pulling a resource right now would be great. Let's do it. Let's just pull that resource and win the game. How about that? Because, yeah, with the 6 health... Battle Beetle. I thought I would never be upset to see a Battle Beetle. But that doesn't mean that I just have to wait. So, I can't kill him this turn. Yeah, I could cycle around and do 2 damage. But I'm just going to pass the combat because I don't want to lose my troops right now, because they are also pumping the Roostosaur, or can pump the Roostosaur if he plays some direct damage on it. But if I can get that Incubation Slave to pop, whew, that'll be nasty. Crimson Clarity, okay. It's fine. Go ahead. You've got a ton of resources and no cards. What do you do? Okay. Oh! 2, 4, 6. So, he is very aggressive. I cannot see attacking at this point, because now, I mean, for free, I get 6 damage, bringing him down to 2. For all he knows, I could have, you know, like a life drain in my hand. I could have some direct damage. But if I pull a resource here, then it's, well, it would have been over. Okay, resource. Okay, so it's over. Now it's just a bunch of clicking to make sure that I get everything done. So, pop the slave, get 7 troops on the field, 7 2/1s. Now, if he hadn't attacked and that popped, it would have been 8, 9, 10. I could have pumped him up to a 10-10, and he would have only taken 4. So he could have lived another turn if he hadn't attacked. So I guess he wasn't thinking that he had anything. Okay, exhaust. And here comes the repetitive exhausting to pump the Roostosaur. Yep. 2, 3. Let's try and get this fast. Let's see how fast I can do it. We're just going to put them all in at once. Let them all resolve. If he's got some sort of... well, no, he's got no cards. I was about to say, if he has some sort of trick in his hand and I've just done all of these mechanics for nothing, it's going to be really annoying. But no. He doesn't have any cards, so this is done. I could have... well, no, I could have done 1, 2, 3. Could have made him an 8-8, doing 2, 4, 6, and killing his troop off. No, he still would have lived. But, you know, maybe he doesn't think he has anything left in his deck to finish this off. This is, you know, a combo that I was like, hey, this could do very well. Bam. Pulled out the win. A few minutes after my match, I got a surprising tournament victory. Well, if Hex was alive, I certainly wouldn't complain. After all, a win is a win is a win. As a side note, drafts in Hex can run anywhere from 1 to 3 hours, so I wanted to provide that experience to you in a more time-friendly way. If you would like to see the full draft process, or more full-length matches during the draft, or maybe you just like the faster-paced edited version here, please leave a comment below. I love requests, so this is an easy opportunity to get more of the content you want to watch. Thank you for watching. There will be plenty of Hex content to come, so be sure to subscribe to my channel and leave a comment below. As always, I'm MSB, wishing you good games and good times.